What is going on, guys? Today we're going to work on the turbo car. If you guys don't know already, I installed the new Garagistic chassis mount shifter, and you can see the whole entire detailed install video and informative video on the chassis mount shifter that they make on their YouTube channel. We actually install it on my car, so it's super sick, very informative, and I'm kind of gonna do a little review on it in this episode. One thing to keep in mind when you do install the chassis mount shifter is you need to change out your motor and transmission mounts to a little bit harder of bushing. So I used to have rubber on both of them, but now I just have the 80A hardness polyurethane mounts that Garagistic makes for the tranny mounts, and I still need to install the motor mount. So that's what I'm going to do in this episode, and then I'll go ahead and do a review of the chassis mount shifters. And they're not too expensive, and they're fairly easy to install. You just need to lift the motor, take out the old ones, and bolt in the new ones. And you can just do it with the jack. So if you want to see just the review on the shifter, check the link in the description. I'll probably have like a little time mark that skips the whole motor mount install if you already know how to do that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. One nice thing about bags is I can just air up so I can fit the jack underneath. So now we just gotta undo the motor mounts, which you can see right there. Remove it from the top and the bottom, and obviously we're gonna have to lift the motor up with the jack. So I'll just do that from the oil pan with a block of wood. And the other one, and you can't really see the other one, but it's right under the exhaust manifold here. So we are gonna go and do that now. Since I have the skid plate on, I can't jack up the motor because the skid plate's in the way. So I'm gonna go take off the skid plate and jack up the motor. So yeah. Ow. Oh. So now you can see the stock motor mount right there. That's the stock rubber one. So I'm just gonna unbolt that and then make sure that the motor's jacked up from the oil pan, and I'm gonna put a wooden block so it doesn't break it. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side and replace it with the new motor mounts. And these are the new motor mounts. They're a bolt through design. So I just gotta put the polyurethane in between and then slide the bolt through. And it's got a nylon nut and a washer, and should be pretty straightforward. So I got that side done, pretty straightforward. Just make sure you align the bolt with the hole so that when you lower it, it actually goes through. Then you put the washer and the nut on and you're good. Alright, so it's now the next day, and I'm just going to go take the car on a drive, kind of show you guys how the shifter looks when I'm shifting it and driving, and I'm going to kind of try to describe how it feels. And so yeah, let's just go on a quick little drive.
is what it looks like just shifting through all the gears. So this is neutral. And then first gear, second, third. And this is reverse. So not a lot of play at all. Now I got the medium height shifter handle from them the other day, and as you can see, it has a recessed area on the threads, and it has these 2 set screws on here. So if you wanted to, let's say, have it as high up from the shaft as I wanted, or as I can, then I can do this, lock in these set screws right here on the sides, and it'll lock it at this height. But if I wanted to screw it in more, I can screw it in more to wherever I'd like, and then wherever I want it, I just lock in these set screws, and it'll be locked in at that height. So a lot of ways to dial it in, and as you can tell already, it moves a lot more, or it looks a lot more exaggerated, but it's a lot easier to shift into gear than the shorter handles. It feels really good. The only thing is that you do have to get a different shift boot because the diameter of this piece is bigger than the stock one. So you know, your stock shift boot will not fit, or you just have to modify it to fit, but it's not a big deal. And of course the handles on these are interchangeable. So if I wanted to get a different handle, or knob I should say, then I can just swap it out real easily. Not sure on the thread though, but yeah. So the chassis mount shifter options that I got from Garagistic were the OEM style knobs. So from the outside you can't even tell it's a chassis mount shifter, but you can definitely feel it. It's just a sandwich plate that connects it to the transmission tunnel. So there's a little ring at the bottom of the transmission tunnel that bolts up to these bolts right here, so you don't need to drill any holes through your transmission tunnel. All you have to do is just put that plate at the bottom, or have someone hold the plate at the bottom and then thread the holes through. The bottom section that actually connects to the DSSR is also adjustable, so that affects the throw as well. So yeah, let's go take it for a drive and let me show you guys how it actually feels. All right, hopefully you guys can hear me. Alright, so as you can see, the shifter is super stiff. This is first right here. You can tell it's not really much of a movement. It's just like that. And then second gear is super close. Right there. It feels really good. It feels pretty notchy. You gotta put a lot of effort initially to like get it to move. But you get really used to it. You kind of just learn to do it in a short burst. It honestly makes shifting a lot faster. And I never really get mixed up either between shifts, because a lot of people, I feel like they worry that they might shift into, you know, third instead of fifth, or it's just hard to get in between the gears and actually pick. But it's honestly not too hard at all. It's super solid in gear. And with the new motor mounts, I can tell the car just feels a little bit more together. And I can tell I'm getting a little bit more vibration and a little bit of noise from the new motor mounts that we installed, but it's honestly not too bad. I feel like the transmission mounts make a bigger difference to me, but it's really not too bad at all. Super easy to get into gear, very precise, very short, and because I have the shortest handle option that they offer, the shifts are extra short, and it's also a little bit more notchy because of that. But if I had a higher knob or a higher handle, there'd be a lot more leverage to pull it, so it'd be a lot easier to get into gear. But since it's so short, that's what makes it, you know, a really, really short throw, but it gets a lot more emphasized the higher the handle is. So that's a thing to keep in mind. The notchiness and the throw is affected by the handle size. So I really wanted to keep this Nardi handle because it matches the steering wheel. So that's why I went for the OEM option. As far as my actual opinion goes on the shifter, I highly recommend it. It really lets you dial in exactly how you want the shifter to feel. And the other cool thing is it also deletes pretty much, you know, all the shifter assembly stuff except for the DSSR. So you just need to make sure you have a fresh selector joint at the transmission and a DSSR. And then if you have this, then that's pretty much all the pieces that you need for the puzzle.
I haven't driven this car in a while. It just sounds so good. I love this car. Oh, this car's fun. Just listen to it, the sound it makes when it shifts. It's so good. I'm running a little bit lean, so I'm shifting a little bit early. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope that answers some of your guys' questions about the chassis mount shifter. I highly recommend it, and if you have more questions about it, go check out the video I made for Garagistic on their channel. It goes way more in depth on how to install it, like I said before, and kind of gives you all the info about the options and what they do for the shifter, you know, from the makers themselves. So go there if you have a lot more questions. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.